Well, that report by our Mariska Botha, who joins us now from Greenpoint in Cape Town. Mariska, good evening to you. An absolutely shocking story, particularly with respect to where this shooting took place.
You are absolutely 100% correct. Behind me, you can see the school where Mihalik was supposed to drop off his 8-year-old son. And now you can't see behind me, but when I look up, I look at the spot exactly where he was killed, brazenly in broad daylight. It was a normal school run. People were running up and down here. It was busy. And the next moment, 2 gunshots ring out in a wealthy, peaceful suburb. So it was definitely a shocker for everyone who lives in this area. We saw a few people that were visibly shaken and distraught because of this. We saw people crying, huddling together, because this is not the kind of thing that they would expect in a suburb and a neighborhood like this. And as you said, the Bongani is so close to a school where small children, first graders to 12th graders go here, where small children go to school. So it was absolutely shocking, especially for the community here and of course the school where it happened.
Mariska, of course, the immediate concern is going to be, how is the 8-year-old boy? What's the latest that we have on that?
We are struggling to get information about his condition because the family is closing in. Authorities won't speak about it. Of course, you can only divulge information once the family gives permission to do so. But we understood this morning that he was seriously injured. Now, we don't know exactly how he was injured, but we understand after his father was shot, the police report says he sustained an injury as well. Now, you can deduce from that what you like, but we understood it was very, very serious, and this morning he was still in a critical condition. The last update we got was from the police, who would only tell us that he is in a stable condition. We hope, of course, that he make a full recovery, but one can only guess how that would leave the boy who was involved and also his sister, the other child of Mihalik. It will scar them for life, most definitely.
Right, of course, we know Mihalik was a prominent lawyer, represented a number of underworld figures. I was curious to hear in your report a little earlier, you quoting Dan Plato about the truth of the underworld. What might he have meant about that?
Well, the underworld, exactly what he's saying there, it stretches everywhere. It tentacles, if you will, reaches far and wide. And if it tells us anything, it shows us that even a person like Mihalik, who lived in a wealthy neighborhood, who would have had protection of his own because of the kind of work that he was involved in, if they could reach him, other people are also easy to get to. So it just shows you that if the underworld targets you, there isn't much you can do about that. And he was speaking directly to addressing that kind of crime element, especially gangsterism. Once again, we also said in the communities on the Cape Flats, 20 kilometers from here, where also in broad daylight shootings happen on a daily basis. And he's calling once again for strong intervention to curb this kind of violence that we are seeing in the Western Cape. And of course, the shocking bit, like you said earlier when we started this conversation, is that it happened in a neighborhood like this, that's peaceful, that's quiet, where you see private security companies everywhere. So if someone like Mihalik can be reached here, he was a very public figure. People knew him all over. I mean, he was in court all the time. So if he can be reached here in front of his school, his son's school, so brazenly in broad daylight, it raises questions about what's really going on in Cape Town.
Right, Mariska Botha, we'll leave it there with you, and that's exactly the point, is it not? It's not only that he could be reached there. There are those who would say this was a targeted killing because of the information he would have been privy to. Certainly a story that we're going to keep an eye on, but absolutely shocking, the idea that it happened just outside the school premises. And his son, as you heard, is maybe fighting for his life in hospital.